Hey guys, welcome in. Just a little analysis today for the win, and I'm going to show you the full strategy I'm using. And if you check the link in the description, you can join the Music City Trader tribe, and you can get all of this, including the sheets that I use to trade, like this. Let's see, this Music City Trader master sheet right here, the one that I'm actually using in my show. And tonight, I believe we're going to be starting our live show with Todd over at the Day Trader Dudes. But we are looking at 3 different charts. Now I already placed my trades today, but I'm going to look at this chart and I'm going to show you where I placed my trade, and I kind of marked it in here. It's kind of important because I'm looking for this channel, this top channel. I'm waiting for the price to break the top channel. That's really what I'm waiting for. First of all, I have to find the channel. So, I do look in the 10 minutes. I've tried to find like large areas, and I found this large area, and I thought, well, it's probably going to turn around from here. So it's not marked here, but I would usually mark this with like a black line, a thick black line, because it's a really strong bottom, right? Now, I noticed that it climbed down to this in this large channel. So what I'm waiting for, really, for the most secure position, I'm waiting for it to break this structure. Not necessarily break this line. It will break this line sometimes, but it's hard to get a confirmation on that because sometimes it breaks that line just for a minute or a few minutes, and then it breaks back up. So it's really hard for me to feel like I've got a really good confirmation on breaking when it just barely breaks, when it breaks just a little bit. So if it were to break down below this line and head that way, it could be that it's just reaching a little further down. So it might go down to here, and then it might turn around and go boom, right back up. So this is a hard place to trade. You can do that if your gut feels it. What this pink line usually means, if you're watching my YouTube channel moving forward, is where I think it's going. So it's going to come down here, and I think it's going to go above this line here, and it's going to go up to wherever I think it was going to go. It could go to here. It could go to here. I'm looking at other places it could go to. Maybe it could go to here. This was a good one. And look, it kind of got stuck here as it did. Now, I took my trade on this little green line right here. I took my trade right there. And I won that trade. It retracted a little bit. And when it retracted on this red candle down here, that's about where I entered. And I entered right around here. And I entered for like 2 minutes. So really, it was just these 2 minutes. It was like right there. Now it bumped way above and it started going where I thought. But what the clue for my entry, so there's my thought process that it's going to go up, and it's going to go up maybe to here, maybe to here, maybe to here. And I can look in 10 minutes and I can kind of see from here where I think it's going to go. It might go up here, it might go up here. It could go all the way up to here, probably, but I'm not worried about that's really far. I'm not really thinking about that far. In 30 minutes, it could go up to here. So I might draw a few lines. These yellow lines or these orange lines are kind of lines of opportunity. So they're not really strong support and resistance, but they're like lines that could turn. Things could happen. That's kind of what I'm thinking of there. So this trade won pretty good, and it would have won. I was kind of trying to now analyze, because I was wondering, could this trade have won in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 15 minutes? Yes, it would have won in all of these minutes, in 20 minutes. So when it comes down on this, really specifically, it's been bouncing up down this channel, and you want it to look like a pattern. You really almost want it to look like there's 2 channels, like that it's got a bottom and a top, because that's much more reliable when it's, kind of bouncing down. And then when it breaks the direction, when it goes for a turnaround. And you can enter wherever you want to, depending on the pressure. I entered right here because it went through, it broke through. I looked at this in 30 seconds. So when it broke through, it kind of broke up, and then it kind of retracted, and I was like, well, yeah, I really could have taken a longer trade, so I went ahead and I took that trade. Now, like I said, I was kind of interested in knowing if, in my strategy, I usually take like 2 minute, 3 minute trades, 2 minutes usually. And so I'm really interested in pressure. But if I just look at this in terms of structure, I could take a longer trade, like a 10, 15-minute trade when it broke that top structure. So I'm going to be just sort of making some mental notes. Now this one's another one that did the exact same thing. There was a little bit more chaos though coming up to this. So basically, let's do this in the 10-minute. So it's rising up. It's got a 10-minute level right here that I knew was strong, and it's got another level up here. So let's go back here and look at it. And I think I have to almost go into 30 minutes to see. And sometimes I do go back and I look and say, like, what happened? Right here, you see this black line is right there. It's a strong black line. And then I'm not sure what this yellow line was. I'm not going to worry about that because I got enough to know that this yellow line is in here somewhere. And let's take this out for now. Let's find this black line. It's okay. So this is really strong right here. It couldn't get below that, and then it plummeted down. So that's kind of a confirmation. Then it came down up here. It couldn't kind of get to there. Kind of came up there. Tried to get up there again. Couldn't quite get up there. Now this time it got up there, and this is what I was talking about. If I would have taken a trade right here, it would have won because it bounced off of it, but that's risky, because right here, if I would have taken a call right here, it went way up. It hit that line, and that time it decided to go ahead and break it. This one, it obeyed it. Now it obeyed it, and it climbed with a lot of strategy just over time, long-term pressure, climbing, broke above it, broke below it, said, I want to go again. It broke above it a little higher. Now it's going back down again. But what I would focus on, and where I think I can't remember, I think I took my trade here. But this was a little bit tricky. But what I did was I took my put right in here, like when it broke through. It broke through that blue line. Now this is tricky because you've got these overextensions outside of the channel. I don't like overextensions outside the channel, but I took my chances on this one. It's got an overextension above the channel, and then it's got another extension down, sort of like a false break, comes back up, hits that top channel again, rides that top layer, and that's sort of, it's like, it really has a lot of up pressure. But then it started going back down slowly, and it hit here, and it hit here again. And as it got through, I took my trade here, and I won that trade going down. I thought what was going to happen is it's going to break this bottom part of the channel, and it was going to go down. And it did here too. See, this would have been a win. Even if I would have done here, it won two, it would have won there probably. As long as I did my short 2-minute trade, that would have won. But right here, I waited for it to break down this channel, and I think I probably waited for this right here, because that's another really good thing to do, is wait for it to retrace. Not a ton, but wait for a slight retrace. So when it retraced and I took my put right here, then I pop that because I know it hit down. Now you're at a 50-50 chance right here because it could keep going, but in the overall scheme of things, it has hit. It has broke this channel, and once it broke that channel, it sort of is my key that it's going to change that direction. Also, it's well above this black line, and I thought, well, it's probably going to try to go back there. I'm thinking of where is it going? Where does it want to go? I think it wants to break this channel, at least go back down here. It broke down there. You could have thought here, this would have been another place you could have thought it was going to keep going, but it didn't. But this chart looks a little funky. I mean, to be honest, this chart looks kind of funky, and I did win a trade on this, but I just did it off my strategy of waiting for it to break the line, waiting for a little retrace, waiting for a little like pullback, and then boom. And I got lucky. This felt like more of a lucky trade to me. Whereas this first position that I took felt like a really strong win. So this is a chart that I was looking at that I didn't trade on, but that possibly would have a good trade. I was waiting for it to break this lower level. And as you noticed, I was done trading today. And so, while I was getting ready to start this video to do my talk, this did break that line. And then it did retrace. So it broke down below. It broke pretty far. And I would have, at some point, I would have taken my put here because I was like, okay, it broke. But luckily I didn't do a trade here because it retraced up. I would have, if I would have seen the pressure here, I might have gotten scared away. If I look at it in 10 minutes, it'll show me that like, yeah, that would have been dangerous because you've got sort of a level. It's sort of a consolidation level in the 10 minute right here. It's kind of a top consolidation. So taking a put right here I wouldn't have taken it. Even though it did break it, I would have waited for more of a confirmation. Like the confirmation that's happening right here, that green candle, I would have taken it right there. Boom. You know, it broke through, rose up kind of high. And it just depends on, honestly, it really would have depended on how fast it broke up and how fast it broke down. Like, is it jumping or is it smoothly moving? If it was jumping a lot right here, I would have been very careful. See, because right now it's trying to get back up to this. And what I think is going to happen here is, see, this is where I think it's going to go. This little pink one, remember, is where I think it's going. And it really did. It just took a little bit of time and it's going down, but not completely because now it's going back up. So what I think is going to happen is there's a good chance it hits this line, this really strong black line, which is a really great place to trade. And I won't trade again today because I've already won my 2 trades, and that's kind of my rules right now. So this hits up this line, and what I think is going to happen is it's going to hit this line and just take a plunge. So I could take a 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute. I'm so confident in this that I would take a longer trade maybe, just in case it wanted to go a little higher, because it could go up to that line right there. It could go up to here, but it's probably going to go up to around here, and then it's going to, this is just a longer retracement. Now, I may not trade on this in general because of how it didn't make like a really specific move. It broke the blue, retraced up there, touched it, broke down again. It went back up again. So now we see how it's kind of consolidating. And when it's kind of consolidating, it really gives you, it really could be consolidating between, let's put this in here, between these 2 lines. It really could be consolidating between that orange line and that black line. It could do this for a long time. Now, when it does that, it could hit this line and shoot that way. At any moment, it could hit this line and shoot that way. You see what I mean? You don't really know when it gets to the bottom or the top of this little block. These consolidation blocks they're great to trade on. I used to do a trade flip on these, but now I'm not so sure because this little block of consolidation, it can go, it's kind of like that. See, it's kind of been in this block. It went a little above, went a little below, but in general, it's kind of stayed in this area. So at some point when we're in consolidation blocks, at some point we know what's going to happen. At some point, it's going to hit the top, bottom, and just shoot down at any time, or at any time, it's going to hit the top and shoot up. Now this one, if you look at that in the 1 minute, that's fine. If you look at it in 10, the problem is with 10, you don't really, the pattern isn't so clear. It's stuck in a consolidation block and you don't know. I mean, you can kind of guess by looking out further, but I've noticed that depending on the time of day or the pressure, when you're looking at a big block like this and it's kind of stuck up there, you don't really know, even if you go out to an hour, which I hardly ever do, this could just shoot straight up. This could turn around in an hour. You have the hour, so you kind of start drilling down, and same way in 30 minutes. It could go up and break this. It could go down to here. You look at where it's been and where it wants to go. In 10 minutes, it could do the same thing. I mean, honestly, in 10 minutes, it could break out of here and start heading up and continue this uptrend. Or it could be that this is such a strong top black line that it starts going all the way down to here and it could consolidate in here. And so you don't know. And of course, this is always going to be guessing, but you really don't have a clear guess where it's going to go. You do know that it's in a consolidation block, at least right here. You at least know that this is a consolidation block where it's actually obeyed these areas, but it has broken up a little bit before, it's broken down a little bit before. I don't trade in this. I would have only traded right here where I did trade on the other chart when it broke that blue line and then retraced one time, boom. but now we don't have. Our general assumption was that it was going to hit this blue line and go there, right? Our general assumption would be and this is where you have to kind of think about assumptions. Your general assumption is it hits this line, this blue line, it breaks it, maybe it retraces to that green top, and then our assumption is it's going to go down. It's going to turn around. Like this is a big fat turnaround. What this chart has shown us there is that no, our assumption is wrong. This wasn't a big fat turnaround, or it might be a big fat turnaround, but it's not quite ready to make its turnaround move. So anything you do right here is very dangerous because you miss that opportunity. If you miss the opportunity right here to kind of catch that downward motion, which would be like a sniper, when we look in this chart, it's kind of like the thing. It came down, it went in, it retraced. I popped my put right there. Boom, it's going to continue going down. Now, this is more of a turnaround, right? Out of a channel. You got the channel, you got a turnaround. And you can kind of see that in 10 minutes when you look at this. Yeah, it kind of went up, it broke that channel, and now it's continuing down. This one probably will continue down for a while, although it's hitting some resistance right here. So it could get stuck there. So you're always kind of looking in the 10 minute, in the 1 minute, and I like to look at the 30 seconds too, just give me a feel for like kind of confirmation. If it looks really wackadoo in the 30 seconds, then I might get, if it looks weird in either the 30 second, the 1 minute, or the 10 minute, if it looks weird in any of those three, then I got to know something could be up. I mean, things have to line up very clean, like here. Like this one looked really good. It came right down, it broke above. Let's look at it in 10 minutes. You'll see what happens. It came straight down here, boom, 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 boom. It hit a really strong level of resistance, and then it went around and broke above that blue line. Now that's like textbook turnaround with confirmation, but your feeling in the 1 minute is when it got up to here and it broke through, that's where I took my trade right there. It's a little iffy, and I was kind of wondering, well, I could take my trade for a lot longer in these situations. And I'm considering that because shorter trades do make you more emotional, but honestly, I do so well with this anyway, so I'm not sure that I'd want to. Now, this is a trade. I wanted to show you one where I thought it was a really dangerous place to trade off a bottom. And because you can see, I looked at this in 10 minutes and I saw it just hitting the bottom and I saw it hitting the top. It was sort of in a box. So this became like a box, but I thought the reason I think trading on this one is because this box in the 10 minute, in the 30 minute, looked like it was going down. It hit that line. I thought, is this the one I was looking at? There was one, hold on. There might be, yeah, that was a perfect turnaround. That was, that was the one I was looking at. There was the one that was at the bottom, and there was a moment where I was like, oh, this is going to break through. This is going to break down. I think I'm going to do something here. And when you look at it in 1 minute, you kind of get that feeling like this is where I was looking at it. Boom, 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 boom. You see it hits the bottom there, and I was like thinking it would be great to trade off the assumption that it's, when it was coming back down here, I thought, well, it's going to hit that and it's going to go back up, right? And I was really thinking that it was, because it was quite a lot of times where it hit there. And honestly, if I would have hit it right when it hit the first one, or maybe that one, I could have won there. Just my gut feeling might have been able to pull me a win right there. But the danger of assuming that is, let's say that I missed this area right here. Let's say I missed this whole area. And I was like, I was looking over here and I was like, it's going to come down. It's going to hit there and go up. It's going to come back down. And it did. It touched there. It went back up. Touched there. Went back up. And I was thinking, oh man, if it touches there one more time. So if I would have entered on this candle, it finally broke, because at some point it will break, it will. And so anytime you trade off one of these strong tops, you kind of risk it breaking. Like here would have been a great trade. Here would have been a great trade. Look, it sets you up like, oh, there's a good one. Hits there, boom, goes back down. These are in 1 minute candles. So if I would have had my eye on this level, boom, boom, and I would look at this and think, man, it's coming off that top really hard. Okay, that gives you a little bit of a clue. Same thing with the bottom. It bounced off the bottom, bounces hard off the bottom, comes down, almost reaches the bottom, comes down, reaches, boom, you could have won that one, you could have won that one. You start thinking, oh, it's going to bounce off the bottom. But then what happens? Because we are in a channel of consolidation, like I said before, one thing's going to happen. It's either going to hit the top and break out, or it's going to hit the bottom and break out. And you really don't know when that's going to happen. So it's kind of dangerous to fight off the bottom, especially when the bottom looks like this. This is kind of a key right here. When it hits the bottom and jumps back off, but it doesn't go all the way back to the top. See, it didn't get it back up that time. It is sort of like, oh, it's sort of like a bouncing ball. So it came down pretty hard. It bounced halfway up, a third of the way up, and then shoom, and it just pierced right through. This is kind of an idea of piercing. So you kind of can get an idea. If it starts hanging out towards the bottom, when it's doing real consolidation, what it's going to do is going to look a little bit more specific. Bounce straight up, bounce down, oh, nope, down, boom, hit the ground. Oh, in the middle, it'll play in the middle, boom, up to the top, boom, down to the bottom, up. See, it didn't go all the way up, boom, all the way back up. See, this is a really clean consolidation bouncing. When it got down here this time, though, boom, look, it started getting small. It started getting small. Started getting small, and it started heading down and getting small still, and it started kind of, pressure started building up here, and then boom, 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 all the way down. But it took a long time for it to break out of there, and so there is a lot of traps in that. And sometimes I will take a breakout, like if I'm sitting there watching it, and thinking, oh, if it breaks out. But honestly, it's not as reliable because it broke down, boom. And if I would have taken my trade here and then it was like, oh, and it could have easily just gone back up. Because sometimes the breakout is a fake out. You know what I mean? It breaks out here and then boom, goes all the way up here and then it breaks to the top. It's like, it always seems like in consolidation, right before it sort of makes its move, it might give you a fake. It might like here, it kind of went higher than normal. And right here, you might have thought that broke, it broke. And you might have taken a call here if you were trying to break out. And then it was like, nope, back down. So there's no confirmation on a trade like this other than maybe that pre-confirmation, like it starts building pressure up. And sometimes you can see it building pressure. The only thing is I get nervous because that red candle shoots through and you think, oh, there it is. There's my pressure. Boom. You take your trade like a put right there and boom, it bounces back up. It can do that. And, we can all get faked out. So I find that these trades have a little bit, and you can still get faked out on these too. These can be fake for sure. But if they break the channel and you kind of can tell that they're turning around with multiple time frames, like in 10 minutes, if you look, it's like, yeah, I think it's gonna hit this and then go down or whatever. You have an idea that it's gonna be in this area before it goes around. You're kind of looking for multiple time frames of confirmation. So today's profit was $960, I believe. I made 2 trades. I won them both. I put them into my chart. Win. Yeah, 920, was the profit for today, which I'm happy with that because I had a really bad week last week. It's like one of my worst weeks ever. Yeah, it's okay though. It wasn't because of my strategy. It was because of my emotions. So we got some new rules, and I'll definitely tell those onto the channel. But if you want to know more, you want this chart downloaded, you want my whole strategy guide. I actually have a whole strategy guide. And this is my trading strategy book that used to be on Amazon, but you can get them now on my website, PDFs. So you can have all that. Just go to musiccitytrader.com. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. But tonight, I believe we're starting our live trades with Todd. And just our YouTube channel will be linked in this description. It's Day Trader Dudes, and we're going to be doing live trading, full out live trading every night, and basically just hanging out. So I'm inviting you into that. I'll see you guys.